Hi, James. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting the invite. The reason I reached out to you is I read that message on that group, and when you said you'd help introverts to communicate better, and since India
Yes.
has 140 crores people, so we would have majority of my introverts compared to rest of the world, and I thought it would be great to have you on the show and learn something, some tools for introverts to use in their daily lives and in their dating life and whatever they feel, wherever they want to use the tools that we'll be providing.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
so to begin with, the first question is: you said to connect even before you speak. So if you could just get into a little bit details of how is it same for the extroverts and introverts, or do introverts do it slightly differently compared to extroverts?
As far as speaking or just in general?
Um, just in general, maybe both the perspectives. Is there any difference? I don't really know the difference. So if you could shed some light on that, I think that'll be interesting to hear.
Yeah. So, what I've found, so when I was kind of coming up in my professional career, the term introvert didn't really exist. So I had no idea what was wrong. I just thought I was antisocial, right? um, so now that I've studied for about, oh my God, almost the last 10 years. I've been, teaching sales and speaking, um, for people who would consider themselves introverted. I found that there's a lot of extroverted people. So just to give a quick definition, the easiest definition for people to grasp is introverts are drained by being around people, where extroverts draw energy from being around people. And then there's a new term that came out, not necessarily new, but there's a term that came out called ambivert, which is kind of a mix of in the middle, right? So most people are actually both, like they're ambiverts, but that's the biggest difference. So what I found over the years is that extroverts, actually, there's a lot of them who they draw energy from people, but they're still shy. They still struggle socially. So a lot of my clients, although I thought I would attract all introverts, that's who I've talked to. I do attract a lot of shy extroverts who, yes, they draw energy from people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a social butterfly.
Right. Mm-hmm. So moving on to a slightly different, an odd question might be: how do you spot an introvert in a room or at work, or someone is out on a date? So how do you spot them? Are there some signs?
I'm pretty accurate. And there's no real science to it necessarily, but usually I'm able to spot an introvert because we're very introverted, right? So a lot of times that person that's deep in thought, their face is usually pretty straight because they're not just focused on the room around them, because that can be overwhelming. They're probably thinking about something pretty deeply. Introverts tend to be a little more reserved. You're probably going to find them around the perimeter of the room, kind of scoping out things. They're not going to be like right in the middle, right? So they're usually pretty easy to figure out an introvert. It's just something like, my main sign is if I see that look on their face where they're deep in thought in a room full of people, that's usually a great sign that I'm talking to an introvert.
So how do you know that they are deep in thought? Do you ask a question or call out something, they don't respond, or how is it that you get to know that they're thinking deeply about something?
So that's a great question. So in the States, we have a term called resting business face. Now there's a curse word. I don't curse, but it's called resting business face, right? So when introverts, when we're in deep thought, we're not very aware of our face. So a lot of times we're not worried about if we're smiling. We're not worried about if we're engaging with anybody. Cause I wrote a book called How to Make Connections in 60 Seconds or Less. And that's one of the things I talk about, right? Is we have to be very careful because we get so deep in thought that our face is welcoming because we'll be deep in thought. And then when the person comes up, like, oh, this person wants to talk to me. Like, I better straighten up. Well, they've been watching you the entire time. So that resting business face is very straight. It's not necessarily engaging. So that's how I usually am able to spot that.
That was that was really something. I've seen this happen so many times when you reach out to someone or call their name, they don't listen to you at all. Then after some time they respond, did you? You called me?
Yes. Yes, I told my wife, I said, you have to forgive me in advance because if you talk to me, you're interrupting my thought. And it's not that I'm trying to be rude. It's just that I'm in the middle of a thought. Like, it's hard to just like, for an introverted person, like that is our world. We live in our head, right? So somebody comes up to us while we're in the middle of thought. We're like, oh wow, they're talking to me like they want to have a conversation. Let me get out of my thought. Let me get out of my head and engage with this person. So it's taken a while for me and my wife. Me and my wife have been married for 20 years. And it's taken a while for her to kind of get used to me. And she has some introverted tendencies as well. But we really had to learn, like, hey, if you approach me at a focused time and I don't respond the way you want me to, don't take it personally. It just means that I was deep in thought. And it's very difficult for an introverted person to switch from deep thought to conversation because it's not how we operate.
That is grabbing their attention. I don't know whether it is it helps them or it helps us.
No doubt. Definitely.